So the next um so the next is the solving linear equation using the inverse method. So same sa Gauss-Jordan method, gayus ta sa same sa Gauss-Jordan method, this problem is gihimo agi sulat nato ang coefficients ani niya using the augmented form. So but unlike sa Gauss-Jordan method, and then so na siya is differences. So as you can see here, ang atong gibutan sa sa right side is ang identity matrix na. Unlike sa Gauss-Jordan method, is ang atong gibutan sa right side is ang coefficients sa kaning naa dire, which is the -2 and then the 0 and then -3. So so to start it, so we need so atong goal is ang second row. So we need to make this 1 into the 0. So -1 times 1 plus 1 is equals to 0. -1 times 2 plus 0 is equals to -2. -1 times -1 plus 1 is equals to 2. -1 times 1 plus 0 is equals to -1. -1 plus 0 times 0 rather plus 1 is equals to 1. -1 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. So copy the first column and then the third column since ang atong goal is ang second row. So the next is ang goal is ang third row, which is this one. Since 1 naman is sa first column, so as you can see, hapit na siya ma-same sa identity matrix. So ang atong goal is ang third row. So we need to make it 0. So to make it 0, we need to we multiply this into -2. So -2 times 1 plus 2 is equals to 0. -2 times 2 plus -1 is equals to -5. -2 times -1 plus -1 is equals to 1. -2 times 1 plus 0 is equals to -2. -2 times 0 is times 0 rather plus 0 is equals to 0. -2 times 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. So just copy the first column and then the second column. So next is the goal is the row 2. So as you can see here, ang sa second column is 2, -2 and then -5. So dapat nato siya himuon og 0, 1, 0. So to make it 0, 1, 0, so ang atong goal is ang second column, which is the -2. So we need to change this -2 into 1. So to make it 1, so gi-multiply na to siya sa -1/2. So -1/2 times 0 is equals to 0. -1/2 times -2 is equals to 1. -1/2 times 2 is equals to -1. -1/2 times -1 is equals to 1/2. -1/2 times 1 is equals to -1/2. -1/2 times 0 is equals to 0. So copy the first column and then the third column. Next one is the next goal is the row 1. So as you can see in the second column is 2 siya. So we need to make it 0. So to make it 0, so we multiply it by -2. So -2 times 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. -2 times 2 times 1 rather plus 2 is equals to 0. -2 times -1 plus 1 is equals to 1. -2 times 1/2 plus 1 is equals to 0. -2 times -1/2 plus 0 is equals to 1. -2 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. So copy the second column and then the third column. So the next goal is the third row. So -5 siya. So we need to make it 0. So to make it 0, so we multiply it by 5. So 5 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. 5 times 1 plus negative 5 is equals to 0. 5 times negative 1 plus 1 is equals to negative 4. 5 times 1 half plus negative 2 is equals to 1 half. 5 times negative 1 half plus 0 is equals to negative 5 over 2. 5 times 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. So copy the first column and then the second column. So the next goal is the row 3. So as you can see in the row 3, sa third column is negative 4 siya since we need to make it 1 man jud kay ang dapat ani is sa third column is 0, 0, 1. So to make it 1 rather, so we multiply it by negative 1/4. So 0 times negative 1/4 times 0 is equals to 0. Negative 1/4 times 0 is equals to 0. Negative 1/4 times negative 4 is equals to 1. Negative 1/4 times 1 half is equals to negative 1/8. Negative 1/4 times negative 5 over 2 is equals to 5 over 8. Negative 1/4 times 1 is equals to negative 1/4. So copy the first column and then the second column. So the next goal is the row 1, which is in the third column. So 1 siya, so we need to make it 0. So to make it 0 na pod is gi-multiply na to siya by negative 1. So negative 1 times 0 plus 1 is equals to 1 rather. Negative 1 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. Negative 1 times 1 plus 1 is equals to 0. Negative 1 times negative 1 over 8 plus 0 is equals to 1/8. Negative 1 times 5 over 8 plus 1 is equals to 3 over 8. Negative 1 times negative 1/4 plus 0 is equals to 1/4. So copy the second column and then the third column. So the next goal is the row 2. So negative 1 siya, so we need to make it 0. So 1 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. 1 times 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. 1 times 1 is equals plus negative 1 is equals to 0. 1 times negative 1/8 plus 1 half is equals to 3 over 8. 1 times 5 over 8 plus negative 1 half is equals to 1/8. 1 times negative 1/4 plus 0 is equals to negative 1/4. So as you can see in the left side, so na-replace na nato ang identity matrix. So 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. So this is the answer. So para mabala na to nga sakto jud ang atong answer or to check it, so ato siyang i-multiply sa kaning nasa kilid, which is the negative 2, 0, and then negative 3 from the given problem. So 1/8 times negative 2 is equals to negative 1/4. 3 over 8 times 0 is equals to 0. Negative 1/4 times negative 3 is equals to negative 3/4. So negative 1/4 plus 0 minus 3 over 4 is equals to negative 1. 3 over 8 times negative 2 is equals to negative 3/4. 1/8 times 0 is equals to 0. Negative 1/4 times negative 3 is equals to 3/4. So negative 3/4 plus 0 plus 3/4 is equals to 0. So negative 1/8 times negative 2 is equals to 1/4. 5 over 8 times 0 is equals to 0. Negative 1/4 times negative 3 is equals to positive 3/4. So 1/4 plus 0 plus 3/4 is equals to 1. So as you can see in the right side, so these are the value of x, y, and z. So same siya sa Gauss-Jordan method na atong nakuha. So negative 1, 0, and then 1. So the value therefore the value of x is equals to negative 1, y is equals to 0, and then z is equals to 1. So therefore, this equations is consistent. Since we already done solving the Gauss-Jordan method and then the inverse method of the consistent equation or solution, so let's move on to the Cramer's rule or using the Cramer's rule method. So the problem is x plus 2y minus z is equals to negative 2, x plus z is equals to 0, 2x minus y minus z is equals to negative 3. So this one, as you can see in this problem, so we need to write the coefficients of this problem. So 1, 2, negative 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, negative 1, and then negative 1. And then let be sa kani nga side. So negative 2, 0, and then negative 3. So to get the determinant of the a sub 1, so we replace the first column into this to this. So negative, so the given is negative 2, 2, negative 1, 0, 0, 1, negative 3, negative 1, and then negative 1. So to solve it sa a sub 1 or the determinant, or to find the determinant of a sub 1, so negative 2 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to 0. So this 1. Di siya makita. So this 1. So negative 2 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to 0. Next is 0 times negative 1 times negative 1 is equals to 0. So we need to trace this. 0 times negative 1 times negative 1 is equals to 0. Next one is 3 times 1 times 2 is equals to negative 6. So diri nga side is ato siyang negative 1 siya diri. Nani siya negative diri, negative rather. So 3 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to 0. Since naman siya negative diri, so nahimo siya negative 0. Next is 0 times 2 times negative 1 is equals to 0. Since naman siya negative, so mahimo siya positive 0. Next is negative 2 times 1 times negative 1 is equals to negative 2. Kaya naman siya negative diri, so mahimo siya negative 2. So 0 plus 0 minus 6 minus 0 plus 0 minus 2 is equals to negative 8. So in a sub 1, to get the determinant of a sub 1, so we replace the second column into this 1. So the given problem is 1, negative 2, negative 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, negative 3, and then negative 1. So same sa pagkuha sa a sub 1, so we need to multiply it. So 1 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to 0. 1 times negative 3 times negative 1 is equals to 3. 2 times 1 times negative 2 is equals to negative 4. 2 times 0 times negative 1, so mahimo siya 0 since naman siya positive 0 since naman siya negative 3. So negative times negative is equals to positive. So next is 1 times negative 2 times negative 1 is equals to negative 2. 1 times 1 times negative 3 is equals to positive 3. So 0 plus 3 minus 4 plus 0 minus 2 plus 3 is equals to 0. So the determinant of a sub 1 is 0. So next is the a sub 3 or the determinant of a sub 3. So ang atong i-eliminate is ang third column. So the problem is 1, 2, negative 2, 1, 0, 0, 2, negative 1, negative 3. Ay, i-replace rather. So same sa a sub 1 and then the a sub 2. So we multiply the 1 times 0 times negative 3 is equals to 0. 1 times negative 1 times negative 2 is equals to 2. 2 times 0 times 2 is equals to 0. 2 times 0 times negative 2 is equals to 0. 1 times 2 times negative 3 is equals to negative 6. Since naman siya negative, so may mo siya positive 6. 1 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to negative 0. So 0 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0 plus 6 minus 0 is equals to positive 8. So next is the determinant of A. So the given is 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, negative 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1. So 1 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to 0. 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 is equals to 1. 2 times 1 times 2 is equals to 4. 2 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to 0. 1 times 2 times negative 1 is equals to 2. 1 times 1 times negative 1 is equals to 1. So 0 plus 1 plus 4 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1 is equals to 8. So to get the value of x, y, and z, so we need to divide the a sub 1 and then the determinant of a. So negative 8 plus 8 is equals to negative 1. So this is the value of x rather. So the next value, we need to find the value of y. So to get the value of y, so divide the determinant of a sub 2 and then the determinant of a. So the determinant of a sub 2 is 0 and then the determinant of a is equals to 8. So 0 divided by 8 is equals to 0. So this is the value of y. The next value is the z. So to get the value of z, or to get the value of z, so divide the a sub 3 or the determinant of a sub 3 over the determinant of a. So the determinant of a sub 3 is equals to 8. So 8 divided by 8 is equals to 1. So therefore, the value of x is equals to negative 1, y is equals to 0, and then z is equals to 1. So same siya ang nakuha nato sa value sa Gauss-Jordan and then the inverse method o sa katong sa duha ka methods na atong na solve kanina. So therefore, this problem is consistent. And then the next problem is the inconsistent. So when do we say that the linear equation have inconsistent solution? So we can say that the system of linear equation is inconsistent if it has no solution using the three methods such as the Gauss-Jordan method, the inverse method, and then the Cramer's rule. So we can also say that this equation is inconsistent if ang value sa x, y, and z kay dili siya masatisfy sa third equation or sa third row. So we can define it, or we can, so by by solving the Gauss-Jordan method, the inverse method, and then the Cramer's rule. So as you can see here, rather is this is the example of the inconsistent solution using the Gauss-Jordan method. So the problem is 5x negative 2y plus c is equals to negative 3. 10x minus y plus 3z is equals to 0. Negative 15x plus 9y minus 2z is equals to 17. So we need to make it into the augmented rule, or we need to change it into the, or to write it into the augmented form. So to write it, so we need to also to write the coefficients of this problem. So the coefficients of this problem is 5, negative 2, 1, and then negative 3. 10, negative 1, 3, 0. Negative 15, 9, negative 2, and then 17. So as you can see here, so ang sa first column is 5, 10, and then negative 15. But in solving the Gauss-Jordan method, so we need to remember the identity matrix, which is the 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and then 0, 0, 1. So dapat ang atong sa first column is mahimo siya 1, 0, 0. Since 5 man siya, so the goal is the row 1. So to make it 1, so we need to we multiply it by 1 over 1/5 or 1/5, 1 over 5. So 1 over 5 times 5 is equals to 1. 1 over 5 times negative 2 is equals to negative 2 over 5. 1 over 5 times 1 is equals to 1 over 5. 1 over 5 times negative 3 is equals to 3 over 5. So copy the second column and then the third column. So the next goal is the second row. So we need to make it 0. So negative 10 times 1 plus 10 is equals to 0. Negative 10 times negative 2 over 5 plus negative 1 is equals to 3. Negative 10 times 1 over 5 plus 3 is equals to 1. Negative 10 times negative 3 over 5 plus 0 is equals to 6. So copy the first column and then the third column. So the next goal is the row 3. So negative 15 man siya. So we multiply it by 15. So 15 times 1 plus negative 15 is equals to 0. 15 times negative 2, 5 plus 9 is equals to 3. 15 times negative 1 over 5 plus negative 2 is equals to 1. 15 times negative 3 over 5 plus 17 is equals to 8. So, okay na nato ang first column. So, 1, 0, 0. So, the next goal is the second column. So, negative 2 over 5, 3, and then 3. So, we need to make this number 3 into 1. So, to make it 1, so we multiply it by 1/3. So, 1/3 times 0 is equals to 0. 1/3 times 3 is equals to 1. 1/3 times 1 is equals to 1/3. 1/3 times 6 equals to 2. So, next goal is the row 3. So, we need to make it 0. So, to make it 0, so we multiply it by negative 3. So, negative 3 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. Negative 3 times 1 plus 3 is equals to 0. Negative 3 times negative 1 over 3 rather, plus 1 is equals to 0. So, as you can see in the third row or equation, so naa siya, so 0, 0, 0 siya. So, dapat in the third column is 1 ni siya diri dapat. So, as you can see in the identity matrix, so dapat siya 1. So therefore, this equation is not consistent or inconsistent siya kay wala siya solution. So we cannot proceed it. So 0, 0, 0. So therefore, this equation is not consistent. So as you can see in the third row, so we cannot proceed into the we cannot proceed, or we cannot identify or of what are the value of x, y, and z. So therefore it is not consistent. So next is the inverse method. So same sa problem. So as you can see here, so we need to write the kanang coefficients of this problem. So we separate the left side and then the right side using the vertical bar. But unlike sa Gauss-Jordan method, ang atong gibutang sa left side is -3, 0, 17. But in inverse method, we use the identity matrix in the sa left side. So the first goal is the row 1. So 1/5 of times 5 is equals to 1. 1/5 times -2 is equals to -2/5. 1/5 times 1 is equals to 1/5. 1/5 times 1 is equals to 1/5. 1/5 times 0 is equals to 0. 1/5 times 0 is equals to 0. So copy the second column and then the third column. The next one is the goal is the row 2. So -10 times 1 plus 10 is equals to 0. -10 times -2/5 plus -1 is equals to 3. -10 times 1/5 plus 3 is equals to 1. -10 times 1/5 plus 0 is equals to -2. -10 times 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. -10 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. So copy the first column and then the third column. So the next goal is the row 3. So -15 man siya, so we need to make it 0. So 15 times 1 plus -15 is equals to 0. 15 times -2/5 plus 9 is equals to 3. 15 times times 1/5 plus -2 is equals to 1. 15 times 1/5 plus 0 is equals to 3. 15 times 0 plus 0 times 15 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. 15 times 0 plus 1 is equals to 1. So the next goal is the row 2 sa second column. So -1/3 times 0 is equals to 0. 1/3 times 3 is equals to 1. 1/3 times 1 is equals to 1/3. 1/3 times -2 is equals to -2/3. 1/3 times 1 is equals to 1/3. 1/3 times 0 is equals to 0. So copy the first column and then the third column. So the next goal is the third column. So 3 siya. So dapat siya moog 0. So -3 times 0 times 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. -3 times 1 plus 3 is equals to 0. -3 times 1/3 plus 1 is equals to 0. So same sa Gauss-Jordan method. So we cannot determine or identify the values of x, y, and z, since ang sa third row rather, makita nato nga ang iyang is 0, 0, 0 ang result. So therefore this equation is not consistent, since in the third row we cannot satisfy the value of x, y, and z, or dili nato siya makuha, or we cannot proceed. So that's why it is not consistent solution or equation. So the next one is using the Cramer's rule. So, the problem is x plus y minus z is equals to 2. 2x plus 3y minus z is equals to 0. 3x plus 4y minus 2z is equals to 1. So, let A is equals to 1, 1, negative 1, 2, 3, negative 1, 3, 4, and then negative 2. Let B will be 2, 0, and then 1. So to get the determinant of A sub 1, so we replace this first column into this in this equation coefficient. So 2, 0, 1, 1, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 1, and then negative 2. So to find the determinant of A sub 1, so we multiply the 2 times 3 times negative 2 is equals to 3. 0 times 4 times negative 1 is equals to 8. 1 times negative 1 times 1 is equals to 0. 1 times 3 times negative 1 is equals to 0. Since na siya negative 3, so mahimo siya positive. Kay negative 1 times negative 1 is equals to positive 1. So, next is 0 times 1 times negative 2 is equals to negative 12. 2 times negative 1 times 4 is equals to negative 0. 2 times 0, 2 times negative 1 times 4 is equals to negative 1. 0 times 1 times negative 1 times 4 is equals to 0. So, 3 plus 8 plus 0 minus 12 minus 0 minus 1 is equals to negative 2. So, this is the determinant of A sub 1. Next is the A sub 2. So, in A sub 2, we replace the the second column into this one. So the given is 1, 2, negative 1, 2, 0, negative 1, 3, 1, negative 2. So, same sa pagkuha sa A sub 1, so we multiply the 1 times 0 times negative 2 is equals to 0. 2 times 1 times negative 1 is equals to 8. 3 times negative 1 times 2 is equals to 1. 3 times 0 times negative 1 is equals to negative 0. 2 times 2 times negative 2 is equals to negative 2. 1 times negative 1 times 1 is equals to negative 6. So, 0 plus 8 plus 1 minus 0 minus 2 minus 6 is equals to 1. So, this is the determinant of A sub 2. So, the next is A sub 3. So, the given problem is 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 4, and then 2, 0, 1. Since ang atong gi-replace ang third column into this. So, 1 times 3 times 1 is equals to negative 18. 2 times 4 times 2 is equals to negative 2. 3 times 0 times, sayop siya. So, 3 times 3 times 2 is equals to negative 18. Since na siya negative 3, so may mo siya negative 18. So, 2 times 1 times 1 is equals to negative 2. 1 times 0 times 4 is equals to negative 0.